3 chapters in, and I gotta say, I mean, it's definitely due to his name. I mean, he did create one of the biggest manga in the world, Naruto. But man, seeing the divide in opinions on Samurai 8, The Tale of Hachimaru, 3 chapters in, very, very divided. And Chapter 3 definitely proved to me something that I suspected, or I don't want to say proved because I don't have proof, but at the very least it convinced me on something regarding the structure of Samurai 8 and why it is that a lot of people are getting lost with it and a lot of people are just not understanding, but also why it feels a little bit different for something that isn't Shonen Jump. Let's talk about it.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
Okay, so chapter 3 of Samurai 8. Now at this point, there's 3 chapters, a lot of pages. I think the first one's like 70-some pages, so a lot of stuff up until this point. But with the 3rd chapter, I'm seeing again what people are saying about it. Because to be honest with you, this is a big deal. This is like supposed to be the Hunter x Hunter to his Yu Yu Hakusho regarding Masashi Kishimoto's career. So a lot of eyes on this. I'm looking at this one very closely. And I'm seeing a lot of the complaints. One of the complaints I'm seeing, again, going into chapter 3, is the fact that it feels as though the pacing just feels a little weird. And that's where it brings me to something that I've suspected was going to happen based on how I've seen Jump work with another artist in Shonen Jump. And that artist is, coincidentally, Yoshihiro Togashi, creator of Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, with Hunter x Hunter, Yoshihiro Togashi, from my understanding, the way he works on it is he goes away when he's on his hiatus, and while he's on his hiatus, he's actually working on it. He comes back, he gives enough chapters to Jump to release at least 1 or 2 more volumes, and then keeps it moving. So what he does is he writes and writes and writes, kind of has an idea where it's going to stop at, you know, chapter parts, but he's more so writing without having that weekly pressure of, yo, you got to change it up, the fan base ain't liking it like this. He gets a little bit more leeway, especially that Hunter x Hunter has a cult following. Hunter x Hunter could go on break after break after break after break, and the fans don't stop, the sales don't stop, millions upon millions. Hunter x Hunter, people love Hunter x Hunter, right? But with that being said, Yoshihiro Togashi again gets to release the chapters and gets to hand them over to Jump in a big pile of, like, you know, 20-30 chapters, a big thing. And again, it probably makes the reading experience, like, because I remember when I read Hunter x Hunter, more enjoyable when you read it in chunks, just like another series like One Piece. It's more enjoyable, but also it feels as though it's more correct. And that's, I think, the problem with Samurai 8, is that Masashi Kishimoto, I don't think that he's writing these chapters and having an editor, you know, tweak much, because at this point he's established. So maybe he does have an editor, of course, but at the same time it feels as though with these chapters, at the very least, that Masashi Kishimoto handed over a big majority of this work before it even hit the ground running. So it doesn't feel like it's structured according to traditionally how shonen manga, like, it just feels like a lot of things are happening. The structure is kind of confusing regarding, like, okay, chapter 3 opens up with the samurai fighting, and they're talking about one in particular can't draw their sword because there's some sort of bind lock on it. And then we go to what's going on with Hachimaru and now the newly named Nanashi, which I like that name. It means no name apparently, but Nanashi, the character, the female that can't decide if she's a woman or dude and talks with her left and right hands and whatnot, she also had that. So it's making me believe to throw in there, because a lot of people that may be confused, and maybe I'm getting it wrong as well, it seems as though there's possibly an alternate reality happening, or that happened, regarding the powers of these people. I can almost bet my bottom dollar, because one of the things that people were complaining about as well is regarding, like, Nanashi seemingly not being a part of, like, the next chapter already, like, going away. And Nanashi needs to absolutely come back, and come back very quick. Like, it can't pass 10 chapters and Nanashi's not back yet, because at that point, I mean, I guess it can. It could be a long-term thing, like, you know, 20 arcs down the road, a big emperor comes and it's Nanashi. So it could be that could be the case. But as it stands right now, a lot of the fans' backlash as well with chapter 3 is that they're looking at it as, wait a minute. So you introduced us to this weird character that's talking left and right and doesn't want to decide on and just, like, you know, a lot of people are just, like, odd that, like, this isn't Shonen Jump. So you introduce us, get us to kind of like the character, because I thought Nanashi was awesome, especially in this chapter where she was outright straight up like, up front with feelings and grabbing Hachimaru's hand to help him with the sword to cut the tank in half. Like, we got tanks getting cut in half, okay? Pig tank, like, just crazy, indescribable shit. I love science fiction. I ain't gonna lie, Samurai 8 is giving me an even deeper appreciation for science fiction. But again, it kind of felt like with Nanashi's departure, the fact that Hachimaru was like, well, I'm going to space, I ain't coming back and stuff like that. It almost felt like a Pokemon one-offer thing, like when Ash would meet these trainers on his journey that we're never gonna see again, and it just felt a little bit bizarre. But again, I think that's attributed to the fact that when Kishimoto was writing this, maybe he had an idea in mind of like, it could break here and break there, but I think it's more so when people read this like that aren't reading it weekly, it'll be better to digest because you'll get the answers a lot quicker than waiting a week to understand what the hell just happened. Like, the chapter opens up with these samurai, and it's been kind of counterpart as well with Hachimaru, which Hachimaru very, right now, he's still playing the, hey, I'm the kid on a journey, but you can see that there's a lot of interesting things. He's more and more looking to me like he's less of a Naruto and more like a Gon Freaks. That's the vibe, especially with the samurai cat, what he was saying about him. That's the vibes that I'm getting right now. And quickly going back to Nanashi, I will say as well, I give credit that people, one of the things that they argue and complain about with shonen manga for years and years is that they spark a love interest and they make the female very shy or whatever, which it's not new because this has also been done before, but I like how outspoken and upfront, even though she's still internally struggling, Nanashi was with her feelings for Hachimaru. She's like, yo, bro, let's get married, what's good? You know what I'm saying? Now, it was a little bit generic. Hachimaru didn't understand it. At the end of the day, you gotta think about it. He was a kid that was trapped in his room, stuck to a machine for most of his life. So to him, it's like, huh? Underwear? What? Which, if you think about it, honestly, this chapter kind of gave me vibes a little bit of early Dragon Ball with like Oolong and stuff. I would say that maybe that was a little bit of the inspiration behind that. I wonder how much of these pig gang people are going to be involved in the manga, because right now, again, it just seems episodic. And Naruto did kind of start off that way to build to the bigger picture, but again, the way it stands right now, the problem with Samurai 8, I personally feel that people have with it, is the fact that, again, it doesn't have that structure to give you these answers immediately that you want, on top of the fact that it's a complex series, which is the sci-fi genre. The sci-fi genre can get very complex, so we got flashes back to these crazy samurai fights, then back to Nanashi, then back to Nanashi talking to her hands and talking to the statue. It gets confusing. I think Samurai 8, as I said in my last video, I'll say it again, this would have benefited from being in the seinen manga, so that way the misunderstandings from people that they want their, Luffy's and Naruto's, and they want that simplistic character, this isn't going to be a simplistic character. In the third chapter, his sensei is already saying that he doesn't understand how this kid is basically defying gravitational pull. And you see like there's these machines in the sky. A lot of bizarre, wacky stuff with Samurai 8. But again, it seems as though Kishimoto does have a vision. It's just a long-term thing. And manga readers that they reading the volumes when that comes out, they'll have a better experience, I say. Because I can't put it down because narrative-wise, it's solid so far. I would say that maybe if Nanashi shouldn't have left, but then again, if he has a bigger purpose for it and like, 2 or 3 chapters, she comes back and it's something incredible and she's already advanced, which the pacing is very fast at the same time as well. It's like bigger overall arcing stories that you could tell that he's not just thinking about chapter at a time, he's thinking overall. So that's why it's happening like that. But at the same time, still getting a lot of elements that you love in shonen. And honestly, chapter 3, the weakest chapter of the 3, I'll definitely say that. And Nanashi's departure, a little disappointing. I was digging the character. I was alright. Okay, this is the vibe, this is where we're going with. So a little bit like making me confused. Like, are we just gonna get a bunch of episodic stuff to start off with, just to build things up? Is that where Kishimoto's going? Like, he just wants us to love Hachimaru and his pet Hayotaro and these characters. And also, a lot of, again, suspense and building up. Kishimoto, one of the things I remember he complained about with Naruto was that he wished he knew as a writer what he knew later on in terms of setting things up for foreshadowing, stuff like that. You can see there's a lot of mystery to Hachimaru's father, that the samurai cat is kind of questioning, like, who is he? What's going on with the key inside of him? This isn't a typical samurai. So again, very nicely developing. You cannot count out Samurai 8. I know that a lot of people right now, they're either lost, confused, or they're just counting it out, but I can see the bigger picture right now. And again, Samurai 8, chapter 3, again, weak chapter in terms of like, we beat a pig and we just got a little more insight into this character, Nanashi, that's not even going to be around the next chapter, but it's just building more suspense into Hachimaru and more world building. And it gave me a little bit of a classic Dragon Ball vibe, but still the weakest of the bunch, and I hope we get it together with the next few chapters and get more answers so we can understand what's going on with these samurais that are linked to these characters like Nanashi and Hachimaru, and just insanity. But yeah, kind of curious what you guys think about this though. 3 chapters in, are you yay, nay? Is Samurai 8? I mean, you cannot judge. I mean, Naruto went 700. One Piece is 900 plus. You know, there's so many series that are going. You cannot completely cast it away. You could say, hey, it's not for me, but I could totally see again. This is going to be around, and a lot of people that they like the shit that gets really good over time and may not have the best start. Look at One Piece, one of the best series of all time, but people argue One Piece started off a little bit slow. I'm not shitting on One Piece, I'm just saying, likewise, Dragon Ball, all of these series. Give Samurai 8 a little bit of a chance is all I'm saying, because I see a lot of hate coming in, and I think that's also remnants of people that they didn't like Naruto, and they're coming because they just, that's just how it goes. I don't know. I don't understand that mindset. I'm curious your overall thoughts of Samurai 8 as of right now. What do you feel as though is the problem that is stopping people from completely just praising it already? Is it too simplistic? Is it too complex? Is it not explaining things enough? And do you think that Masashi Kishimoto essentially has the same deal as Yoshihiro Togashi, where he's just dropping by and dropping like 40 chapters and saying, alright, here you go, I'll see you later, and that's why it doesn't feel structured properly, and maybe Jump is having to come in there and make cuts in order to make it, you know, chapters week after week. And finally, I just wanted to add in there, I'm still rocking with Samurai 8. I hope people still go with it, because as it stands right now, it's building to something great, and it's the beginning. Give it a chance. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Please hit the bell to get all notifications. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links of course in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. Can't forget the music though. Hold on, let me play y'all a little something.
Make sure your next move is your best move. Feeling smarter, I guess less. But always remember, no matter the weather, I was October through to September. Whenever you needed, whatever you needed. Every girl hated is how you were treated. Gave you the town, gave you the city. No one would do